Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday, 26th of May, 2021, 9 p.m. here in Ireland. And Sayute to our Irish friends. It's nice to have you today. And we do have a special guest, Dr. Vanessa Celoni. She'll be with us today talking about spirituality and science. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My dear friends, it's a blessing to be here once again with you all in this special night with Dr. Vanessa Celoni. So I hope you enjoy our episode this evening. Thank you.
Labas vakaras visiems. Šiandien turime svečią, Vanessa Celoni iš Amerikos, ir mes kalbėsime apie dvasingumą ir mokslą. Tikiuosi, kad jums bus labai naudinga, labai įdomu, ir labai ačiū, kad jūs čia esate su mumis. Thank you very much for your company. Thank you all. As we mentioned before, Vanessa Celoni from the United States is coming here tonight to talk about spirituality and science. Hope you enjoy it.
Bonsoir, bonjour à tous. Merci pour votre présence et pour votre fidélité. Très heureux d'être ici parmi vous de nouveau ce soir pour parler un peu de ce magnifique sujet qui me tient beaucoup à cœur, la science et la spiritualité. Et aujourd'hui avec notre invité spécial qui est notre sœur Vanessa Celoni. Hello, good morning, good evening. Thank you for being here with us every week for these Spiritual Light emissions. Today on this subject that I like much, which is science and spirituality, and with our special guest, Vanessa Celoni.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us at Kardec Radio in this program that has been opening our minds to deeper levels, spiritual light. We're happy to be here to talk about a must topic, spirituality and science. So we're very happy to be here with you.
Mute, Stevan.
Thank you all for this warm and welcoming. And as usual, we will start with a video from the Spiritist Academy, and we will develop the topic today. So let me add my screen here, and off you go.
At first glance, things seem so profoundly varied, so essentially distinct as the diverse substances that comprise the world. So, does matter consist of one or many elements? One single primitive element. The bodies you regard as simple are not true elements, but rather transformations of the one primitive matter. Where do the different properties of matter come from? From the modifications that the elementary molecules undergo as a result of their combining under certain conditions. Do molecules have a constant or variable form? Constant for the primitive elementary molecules, but variable for the secondary ones, which are only aggregations of the former. However, what you term a molecule is still very far from being the elementary molecule. As has already been demonstrated, the universal cosmic fluid is the primitive elementary matter, whose modifications and transformations comprise the innumerable variety of bodies found in nature. As the universal elementary principle, it offers two distinct states, etherization or imponderability, which may be considered the normal primitive state, and materialization or ponderability, which is in a certain way only consecutive to the former. The intermediary point is the transformation of the fluid into tangible matter. However, even then, there is not a brusque transition, because our imponderable fluids may be regarded as a halfway phase between the two states. Each of these two states necessarily gives rise to special phenomena. To the latter belong those of the visible world, and to the former those of the invisible world. Some, called material phenomena, are within the jurisdiction of science per se. The others, qualified as spirit or psychic phenomena because they are most specially connected with the existence of spirits, fall within the attributions of spiritism.
Wow, it sounds a bit complex, but in my opinion, it looks more simple than we think. And I'd like to kick off this discussion today. And I would like to see in Dr. Vanessa, you are in the USA for many years. And my question is, what you have seen since you arrived in the US with all your researches? How develop the combination of science and spirituality from the moment you arrive in the US up to now?
Stevan, I would like to say this. I've been here for 23 years, and of those, almost 20 years I was at university. And I would say this, because science is huge in the United States, we're talking about one of the leading countries in science, not only, but in terms of quantity, we have a number of scientists that is huge. Just to give us an idea, when the Society for Neuroscience gets together, we talk about a meeting of 35,000 neuroscientists. We only lose to cardiology, which is the largest. Just to give us an idea about scientists, and it grows as we speak. We would say there is a diversity of topics, and it's important to keep in mind that the routine of a scientist is so peculiar and related to a topic, to a subject, that doesn't allow the scientist to have much room for other things. What am I saying about it? That in the diversity of fields in science, one of them is spirituality and science. Okay. One of them. But neuroscientists per se, we don't talk about spirituality there. Though we know a few of them who research on it, but very few. In the United States, we know one neuroscientist who works on it. Dr. Andrew Newberg, one. We don't have subjects, spirituality and neuroscience, in graduate schools here. We're talking specifically in graduate schools. We have professional schools like medical school, dental school. Like in dental school, I worked at a medical school and dental school here. In the dental school alone, where we have the Department of Neuroscience, because you have the Department of Neuroscience, not neuroscience, across the universities in the United States, there I was the director of behavioral sciences. I was able to implement things that are close, but not that close, because it's not allowed. We cannot talk about things that are still to be replicated. And this is important. For example, the study that was done by Julio Paris, Dr. Paris in Brazil, Dr. Moreira, and others, with the collaboration of Dr. Newberg here in the United States, talking about mediums and the brain in 2012, published in 2012 and 2013, that was one study. but needs to be replicated. We need more studies of it, but to need more studies, you need funding. And when you talk about funding, you're talking about the general public, society, allowing the organizations, the government organizations, and even the foundations to channel a chunk of their money to that kind of research. When you talk about illnesses, for example, of the mind, depression, anxiety, you talk about schizophrenia, diseases that are neurodegenerative, the money, the big money goes to that. They are not interested. Spirituality is not in the, let's say, in the top 10 list of interests or emergencies, because
Not yet.
you understand, not yet. So that's why, so we needed to understand that I don't think people are not interested. I think there's growing interest. The problem is, for you to study such things, we really need money. And because these equipments are really expensive, and to have the money, you need approval from society. So we would say we still have a lot of other issues, like cancer, for example. Neuroscience and cancer, it's a field that is growing now. And with the pandemic, the field of microbiology and all sciences are all interconnected, trying to understand what's happening in the brain, the aftermath of the pandemic for emotions, and all the organs, like cardiology. There's a whole field now studying about the effects of COVID in cardiology. So many people even stopped what they are doing to research on what's going on now, to bring solutions and new understanding on what's happening to humanity. So right now, we would say the need of humanity is still very basic in terms of our survival overall. When we talk about it reminds me about Abraham Maslow in the hierarchy of needs. When we talk about spirituality, these people, when they want to research it, they have their basic needs already in place. So that's one of the reasons why it takes time. Not because people are not interested, because as you ask, do we see things changing? Yes. And at Kardec Radio, 10 years ago, because we're turning 10 years this year, we started since the first program talking to Dr. Gary Schwartz. And from there on, we have more than 266 interviews. Besides the spiritists, we have more than 200 interviews that people can listen to, because at that time we didn't have audio, video. We have interviews with researchers, scientists, thinkers of sciences, all different sciences, talking about spirituality here at Kardec Radio. So you can see that there is growing research, growing interest, but not as fast-paced as we wanted, because there are other needs as well to be attended by science. Not because there's lack of interest, but there are the needs to be addressed that are more urgent at this moment than, though, if you go to the field of mental health, we know that it's urgent to have a new paradigm to treat mental health.
Great. Yeah. It's a learning, and this come across. By the way, I want to say hi to all people here joining us here from USA, from Ireland, from Brazil, from Canada. So thank you everybody for joining us. We appreciate your time here, and I don't know. We do have I think you can. We have a question here from Guilherme Diaz, And he's saying, would it be correct to say that Spiritism has not paid much attention to science for many years? What efforts are currently being made to change this? It's kind of what you already said, you know.
It's the other way around, because science has growing interest in what we know. But we have always had a wonderful relationship with Spiritists. The Spiritist movement since Kardec has never lost interest in the advancements of science. On the contrary, we have a beautiful, I think we have a beautiful establishment like no other philosophy or religious field has. We have a wonderful relationship with science since Kardec. Kardec was the one that got science and religion and said, you know, guys, you've been divorced for too long, it's time to remarry. And I think he did it.
I like that.
He did it beautifully. And now we're still working on the terms of this reconciliation, but we know it's inevitable. And the proof of it is the just passed British Medical Spiritist Congress that happened this past Saturday, showing to us, for example, Dr. Alexander Moreira's group undoubtedly is a group that is bringing forth so much. They are spiritists, but they are scientists in a country where you are allowed to do this research. In the US, it wouldn't be ideal for us being spiritists and scientists researching on the field, because here they say there's a bias, so they don't accept it. It's easier in countries like Brazil, where Spiritism is well understood. So no wonder they have good collaboration with other researchers around the world. And you see growing number of papers, as we showed in our talk, just the last year, of the research between 1973 to 2021, in terms of mediumship alone, just mediumship, not even spirituality, a subfield, mediumship, we see that the research that has been done in this time frame has grown immensely to almost like 20% of it just in the last year, showing to us that people are really willing to understand more and more about it. But Spiritism, the Spiritist movement, has a wonderful relationship with science in all different fields. If I will give you just a quote, somebody who cannot speak English here with us, but has beautiful works in the understanding of veterinary science, animals, and spirituality, Dr. Ivernia Prada in Brazil has books about it and talk about it, the research on science and understanding animals and the spirit that is connected to it. So we see in different fields people taking care of it from a spiritist point of view, aligning with science. As Kardec says, the alliance between science and religion.
Yeah, thank you very much. So would like to say hi to our friends in Argentina and Luxembourg as well, is watching us. So who's next?
Can I just grab this flow about religion and science? So we do have, in Brazil at least, but I think here in Lithuania as well, but we have religion in school as one of the topics that we are taught. Do you think that we should teach the children and teenagers more a little bit about quantum physics, about the spirituality, about the vibration, the energy, so they can become a little bit more spiritual, less material, and go to this field of spirituality and take then research more when they start going to the university and thinking about more. I think it's like a generation thing that is changing, and then we are talking more about spirituality. And then, so if we introduce this to children, to teenagers, so they can understand a little bit more, ask more questions, be more investigative and more interest, and then this field of science and spirituality will grow their thinking.
Thank you, Nadja. That's such an important question, but I see from different angles here things to be addressed. The human mind, as you know, works in such a way that we go from the concrete to the abstract. When we talk to children, as we know in Brazil, for example, we have the first spirit school, and now several in Brazil, that was created by Professor Gircis Barçanufo. It's still at the vanguard. His method is phenomenal. But we need to understand that to talk about spirituality, we need to talk about the concrete things first. For example, if we talk about death, now there are many people dying. People come to us and say, Vanessa, how do I teach my child about death? Professor Gircis Barçanufo has a method. Nature. In nature, we can show to them, and that's how they do the method. They show the stages of life. It's life. Death is part of life. It's a stage. So we cannot present abstract concepts without bringing concrete. And in the Spirit's book, we see that Kardec's such a wise educator that he brings to us questions that will lead to answers, showing to us that even in our relationship with God, the Spirit say, the proof of God's existence is in nature. If you see everything God does, that's the proof. Very concrete. So to bring somebody to the abstract, we first need to walk them into the concrete to find the abstract into the concrete. And to talk about true spirituality, the foundation is question number one, God. The truly spiritual people, they find God first. But how are you going to find God in the abstract without finding God first in the concrete? So we see in your important question, we would say, yes, we need to change the way we are teaching children. But we're not going to get to the abstract before passing by the concrete. Trying to find the spirituality in the concrete things to lead us to the abstract. And we would say concrete such as emotions. We won't be able to find children finding God without getting to know of themselves. So we see that before people on earth introduce spirituality to children and teenagers, we first need to introduce emotional awareness, which is part of our emotional intelligence, in schools first. Once we're checked on that, I can see that we will easily gravitate to the next level.
Yeah, good. Well, and now let's travel to France.
Okay,
Mr.
thank
Charles,
you,
Mr. Kempf.
Thank you also, Vanessa, for your very clear answers. In your first answer, you said that for making some researchers, you need money, and for needing money, you need some motivation to motivate the investors to invest in the money. But on another hand, I remember the first time that Marlene Noble came for a congress. It's more than 15 years ago. I asked her, Marlene, do you have studies showing evidences? And at that time, it was quite a challenge. There were not so much. But luckily, today, we see there are thousands of studies everywhere in the world, not only from spiritists, but from many countries, many universities, and so on, which are now more and more clearly showing the benefits of spirituality or some spiritual practices and so on health. And I appreciated a lot Rupert Sheldrake's talk as well, huh? And also Alexander Moreira Almeida showing this. Rupert Sheldrake saying that the NHS in the UK is funding some meditation for people because they see they are doing savings into treatment for depression and so on. So do you think that these evidences now, couldn't they trigger exactly this investment in the researchers in this field in order to make a huge savings in the conventional treatments?
I think you hit the nail, because it talks about money, and the insurance companies have already surrendered to so much in terms of complementary approaches, medical approaches, from acupuncture to even Reiki. Even in pet insurance in the United States, it covers non-traditional approaches as well, because they know it's going to save a lot of money from insurance companies as well. So when we hit the pocket, people are going to change. That's a sure thing. And that's a tendency. And the more we get, for example, the more we get to know that energy medicine is effective, and I'm seeing energy medicine being the healing touch, or as we say in Brazil, the passes, the more research that is brought forth, more and more people are going to be surrendered to it. The only thing here that we would highlight on the perspective of the other side, we as spiritists, is not making any of this a profession. And that's the critical thing, because that's where everything loses. I'm just bringing a point that may be controversial. It's great when some of these approaches in energy medicine become mainstream, but like Reiki, it's paid. And it's not a problem per se, but I've seen many people who are spiritists, and they say, oh, I feel like I should be a Reiki practitioner because I'm good at it and I can make it a profession and, make a living of it. And then and that's the conflict of interest as well. We want to see these things pushed to the mainstream, but then it comes back to us when we, unlike what Kardec did and said, our self-interest takes place. And that may change even the efficacy of it. I'm just bringing some highlights because I know majority of people who are listening to us, they are spiritists or spiritist sympathizers, and we need to watch out to this conflict of interest. We want to research on this. We want it to bring forth this information, but we don't want to be financially sustaining that regard. That's something that in Spiritism would be a major no-no. We're talking about the other side, right? Not from science, from the Spiritist point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I see the same as you. I mean, making money out of spiritual practices or may look like materializing again the spirituality, through making money. But even so, Kardec was quite open. He told a doctor, for instance, is paid for his job, because it's his job. He invested studies in his life and so on to make the job. The same he was telling for the mesmerism, magnetizers. It's allowed to be paid. He was making some reserves for the mediumship, the paid mediumship. That's then something that we do not control. So what we do not control, we should not ask for money. But I fully agree with you. We need to open this. But my point was more to the eye-opener, Rupert Sheldrake, showing that NHS is paying for meditation and things like that, because for them it's cheaper at the end. And this is, in my opinion, can trigger a lot of releasing of money for making more researchers in this field. As we have seen in the video in the beginning, there is a lot to be discovered still by science and to unlock before we get there.
Yes, you're right. And we see a growing number of people who want to see more. And I agree with you. In terms of spirituality as a field, there's a lot around the world. But since we are spiritists as well, I would say this. The plan of this growth comes from above. And if it hasn't happened yet, it's because there are implications. And I see that one of the implications is this. Once it becomes mainstream, we incur in the risks of people getting into this because it's already mainstream and being personally benefited in terms of financial, professional careers. And I think the spirituality, the higher spirituality, the governance of the earth, is making sure that before we have it in universities, we have it in people's hearts. As Mentor Joseph once brought in a mediumistic message of psychography saying, Jesus was not a master of the masses. He was a one-on-one master. He always cared by each and every one. Of course, he talked to the people, but he had this one-on-one relationship. When I see people's anxieties about making these ideas grow to the masses, we forgot that that's not the pathway. It grows first from heart to heart and from inside out. So it's going to take time also because of the implications. We cannot destroy a plant, as Kardec said. If the truth comes like a plant at the wrong time, it can be smashed. So in terms of mainstream, it's taking time, but it's growing. And it's growing, I think if we want to detect the speed, it's exponential. It's growing to a level like never seen before.
Yeah. Now I invite everyone to drink a tea in London. Elsa, do you have tea for us?
Yes, I have a tea, and I have one quotation from a scientist from India that I read in the New Indian Express journal. He said, "Science and spirituality, two sides of a coin." And I remember our great genius, physicist Albert Einstein, the quotation that everybody knows when he said, "Believe the science without a religion was lame, and religion without science was blind." And in between all these kind of things, we come across with spirituality. Religion is imposed by man. Spirituality is nature. Everything is spiritual in nature. There's a copy of the spiritual world that we have here. And in the schools, some schools in Europe, I think in Brazil, United States as well, they introduced meditation to the children in schools. That is helping children be more attentive, be more calm, and that's great. And Dr. Peter Fennick spoke Saturday regarding a doctor that was praying or recite a prayer to the patient, and the direction of the hospital called his attention, something like that. So if you know that the meditation is good, a prayer is good, as Dr. Harold Kennedy did a beautiful research, before 2003. And load of things are going on. Why? The scientists still are blind. Still don't want to see the benefits of spirituality, acknowledge spirituality, Vanessa. Why we do like that?
I would say this. It's an ancient theme. Who is a scientist? Who is the scientist? Human. They're human. They have their religious belief. They don't talk about it, but they do. As a scientist myself, I've been surrounded by scientists who are Jewish or Catholic, minority in the US, but who are of all different lines of Protestant Christianity. And behind the scientist, that seems to be so logical, right? There is a human heart that grew up in a religious pathway, has their beliefs. And when you touch that point, they're like, no, not here. Because they don't want, they don't know how to do the bridge, and they also refuse it. I remember a scientist friend of mine, I'll never forget, because I never talked about it to people, but people knew, because they know. And I was doing some research. It was at the medical school. And we were at the microscope looking at some cells in the brain. And he dared to make a comment out of nothing. He said, Vanessa, he was actually Australian, very beautiful, very bright, still young. And he turned to me and said, Vanessa, how come you believe in these things? And I didn't say a word, but he knew it. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. Why are you so bright and beautiful? You're the first one to arrive at the department, the last to leave. So beautiful, hardworking. Why do you do it if life is going to end? Does it seem smart to you? Because for me, to me, if there is no continuation, I will take a shortcut. He looked at me, he couldn't answer. The answer is, they don't want to think. When people comes to me and say, my husband is so rational, he doesn't believe in these things, I would say, excuse me. If your husband were really rational, he would believe these things, because it's unshakable when you really think, but he doesn't want to think. That's why he claims to be rational. It's actually, he's pushing it away. In terms of scientists, Elsa, when you talk about prayer, you are touching a subject that is in the hearts of people, belongs to their childhood, to their family traditions and beliefs, and they don't want you to touch it. So I think when scientists or a group or a hospital, they refuse to embrace the evidence, for example, on reincarnation, there's enough papers from Stevenson's group, Jim Tucker's group at the University of Virginia, hundreds of papers. There's enough evidence for everybody in the world to know reincarnation exists. And yet, it doesn't change a thing in the curriculum in universities to change the approach in psychiatry, in psychology. Why? Because we're talking about things that touch, intersect with belief, and belief is something that is very subjective. It's very hard. So it's a taboo that is being broken little by little. But look at Dr. Andrew Newberg. He had to move from Penn State University after he did the research on mediums. The attack was brutal. he went to Thomas Jefferson's. And at Kardec Radio, we have interviews with several scientists, from Betty Stafford, who is at university in California. We have Dr. Gary Schwartz from the University of Arizona telling me, Vanessa, I can do this research because I am tenured. And I started it after I was tenured, meaning I got my position. Nobody's going to take it away. But you can't. And I say, and I won't, because my role is not to prove anything. I want to share the news. It's not my role. I'm biased. If I research on it, I don't even believe my research because I believe in it. And psychophysics proved to us that what you believe changed the results of science. So I cannot do that research myself. I can't. I would love to, but I can't because I believe in it. But those who don't believe, they are the best candidates to be the researchers on this. Supported by us, maybe consulted by us, but not only us. Because those who don't believe, they have to have a word to make sure that there's no bias, which is very important, right? In the making of the scientific protocols. Like Dr. Newberg, he doesn't believe in anything. And now he's the leading authority in the field of neurotheology. We've done 2-3 interviews with him at Kardec Radio many years ago. And he talks about how he's not a believer, how he researched, and now he created a textbook on neurotheology, which is a total new field in research.
Wonderful.
Right.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's so good to see. Even though we think there is nothing working behind the scenes, there is a lot of things. So it's wonderful to see that. It's wonderful to. I'm glad you're sharing this information with us, because
That we remember that Kardec
Go ahead.
said something as well, Stevan. Remind us, introduction of the gospel, item 19, that was reading. I said, oh my God, Kardec is really amazing person. Ask Vanessa pointed when she starts talking. Can I read it quickly? The item 19 of the introduction of the gospel according to Spiritism. The ones that have the book can go there, introduction 19. If doctors are unsuccessful in treating the majority of ailments, it is because they treat the body without treating the soul. If the whole is not in good condition, then it is impossible that part of it should be well. Spiritism offers the key to the relationship that exists between the soul and the body. So, proving that one of them is constantly reacting over the other. This idea opens up a new field of science, with the possibility of showing the real cause of certain ailments. The way of curing them becomes easier. When science takes into account the spiritual element in the organism, then failures will be much less frequent.
I can say one thing. At the School of Emotion, which is my practice, when I left university to take care of my daughter, I opened my clinic, and it's been, 6 years? I do the protocol. I ask the patients, I say, what's your religion? And I ask for permission to incorporate the belief into the therapeutic process. And I see expedited insights, healings of the mind, of emotions, because you go straight to the core of it, as Kardec is saying. It's much easier It's much more straightforward. Like, for example, if people tell me, oh, love yourself. You need to love yourself. Okay, how do I love myself? Really, logically speaking, to look at the mirror and say, I love myself. We don't believe it because our rational mind is like, how can I love myself if I have all these imperfections? If I've committed these crimes, I was born in this way, da-da-da-da-da-da. Impossible. But then when I add the main foundation, I love myself because I'm a child of God. Practice it. You break the taboo. You look at yourself in the mirror and say, wow, I am a sculpture of God. God created me. Now I love myself. It's easier because I'm not self-made. Then I look at myself. I'm not confused or conflicted in my inner things. Like, oh, I am like this. Don't worry. Be happy because God created you to progress. You can get out of it. It shall pass. Let's work on it. And then you're able to forgive yourself. I'm not going to say it's overnight, but it's a process we can see. Look at the beautiful face. Hi. Adorable. So then we can see the child came, and it's beautiful. Like a medium, she came to remind us, as we talk about loving ourselves, we have that inner child inside of us that we need to heal. And today I was listening to a podcast that I posted on my Facebook page from a spirit psychology in Brazil. And she was saying, how can we heal ourselves if we haven't healed the child within? Learning techniques to heal that child within under the foundation of God, knowing that we can make peace with certain scenarios that happen in our childhood, revisiting them from a bigger perspective. So the spiritual science, as Kardec says, can really shed light in areas where material science is limited. And I don't need the government to tell me to do it. I have scientific evidence to show to people who come to me and say, we can apply this today. If this is already in your core belief, it's piece of cake. I don't need the government to vouch and say, go ahead. Like Dr. Mark Baker, he's a Christian psychologist. He's not a spiritist. We've interviewed him at Kardec Radio. We were able to bring him at a Spiritist Symposium in Atlanta. And he has a book that talks about Jesus as a psychotherapist, the best that has ever existed. And in our conversations with him, he says, I incorporated that approach in my practice, and it's highly effective. He published books, he became renowned, and he has his clinic that is ongoing, and he absorbed it. So we see that there are many people already practicing. For example, in the UK, in terms of mental health, we can't forget the Spirit Release Foundation. People, psychiatrists, who understood that there is an extracorporeal element that comes in place and shakes our mental health, creating mental illnesses as well. So they researched, I read many of their papers, even presented at the first medical spiritist meeting that we had in the US, 2006. Dr. Merlini Nobre was there. And we see the beautiful works that they do, which is it's like this obsession they call spirit release technique. We call in Spiritism this obsession. Those psychiatrists are ahead of the game. They are already incorporating that practice in their practice and seeing the success. So it's already happening around the world. What are we waiting? What are we waiting? I think it takes courage.
Yes.
Yeah. Go, Moose.
I would say so that in 2007, Vanessa, Dr. Andrew Powell asked me to write an article about the mediumship spirituality. I wrote, and he published it in the journal or newsletter of the Royal College of Psychiatrists / Spirituality and Psychiatry Interest Group.
Wow.
It's still there. It's still there.
Wow.
So I think 7 pages, more or less, is a huge article. And they have interest. And the Spiritual Release Foundation, we had patients from them to treat in our Spiritist center because they believe in us. The psychiatrists, they know that as Spiritists and mediums, we are helping people that are hearing voices. The voices are saying, you have to kill yourself, you have to kill yourself. So they are under medicine. And when they come to receive healing and start studying, they release themselves from this obsession. It's still hearing voices, but not as a schizophrenia or things like that. But there's a combination of medicine and spirituality. Is the beauty of the public health. If they can combine it and use it, will be less suffering in the world, for sure.
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. Only a contribution, sorry.
It's happening. As Elsa said,
Yeah, it's
happening.
there.
Right?
It's there. Yeah. So time passed by very fast. But we do have one question here that I want to wrap up here without answer all the questions we hear from our friends. And Fabrizia Diaz says, may homeopathy be the medicine of the future as its proposal is treating the cause of the disease?
Fabricia, you don't know me, I don't know you, but you touched the subject that is dear to my heart. I am the byproduct of, I would say, Hahnemann, the father of homeopathy, is my father, my spiritual father, because when I was 7, I had pneumonia 5 times in a year. The doctors were hopeless. They told my mom, there's nothing else we can do. Finally, since we were at a Spiritist center in Rio de Janeiro, Francisco de Assis, there was a physician who was a homeopathic doctor, and she said, I can help. My mom asked the main doctor, the pediatrician, can I try it? And he said, well, try whatever you want, because there's nothing else we can do. And in less than a few months, I was healed, and here I am. 40-some years later, 42 years later, here I am. So I would say homeopathy certainly is a pathway because it treats us from within, spiritual body, the mind and the quintessential body, the perispirit. Hahnemann is one of the spirits that helped bring forth Spiritism. In the books by Kardec, we'll see several messages that came through him. So we would say we can count on homeopathy, not only, mostly, to help us, as much as we can count on acupuncture, which is a true surgical procedure in our spiritual energetic body. We also can count on anthroposophic medicine as well by Rudolf Steiner that goes hand in hand with the same philosophy that we're more than the physical body. So the beauty is we already have enough complementary medicine around to help us, but it takes an open mind, and I would add a good heart for the health practitioners to really embrace it and be less of a technician, because we see a lot of medical technicians, psychological technicians, in all different fields of health. They apply what they know. But when we really feel the patient, we will inevitably embrace complementary medicine ways. So in all universities around the world, we're seeing this opening, and we can certainly be hopeful that we are closer to a more mainstream understanding than we've ever been. So there's a lot of hope in the upcoming decades.
For sure. And last minute question we have here. How would a psychiatrics differentiate between mental illness not resulting from spirit possession and mental illness caused by spirit possession?
In terms of traditional training, there's no training in that regard. I know we have the menu in psychiatry. They may talk about it, but there's no actual training on it. So I would say psychiatrists are not going to be able to even give you that diagnosis. Oh, I think this is spiritual, like voices of the spirits. No. You're going to say schizophrenia, period. But on the behind the scenes, they may talk like I've met many psychiatrists who came to me. I'll never forget in Atlanta, a spiritist symposium we had, and this woman who became a spiritist owner, she said, she sent me a message and said, I want to meet with you because I need to talk about my practice. So we had dinner. Her husband was there as well. And she said, I see the patients and I see that it's beyond what my eyes are seeing. I know there are voices. What do I do? I know that you know of these things. So she wanted to be trained on how not only to diagnose, but to proceed as a practitioner. As much as there is another psychiatrist that is now in Tennessee, and now she's in touch with Emma Bragdon, and we have to bow our heads to Emma Bragdon because she has been doing works that none of us, even spiritists, are doing. Because she created this institute to research and for mental health, in which she's bringing heavy-duty spirituality, including spiritism. She wrote a textbook with several spiritists, including Marlene Nobre, and other books as well. And she has been advocating for this unity between our spiritual practice in spiritism, especially this obsession, and psychiatry. So she brings doctors, nurses, health practitioners to Brazil to visit major psychiatric hospitals who are doing this work and have already put together this alliance between spiritist approach and psychiatry to lead us to greater mental health. She is advocating for this, and she has training for people in that regard. So we would say, we spiritists can help, but she has been doing this translational, not only research, but creating an approach to give these tools to people who are not yet into the spiritist centers.
Okay.
Somebody for you guys to bring to this program for sure.
Okay, I'm sorry, but our time is up. Don't tell, but our boss in Kardec, we're going to be angry if you pass over time. Don't tell her. Okay. But thank you for this amazing. Oh, Charlie's drop it. But let me give it our announcements before we wrap up here. So this Sunday, is the last Sunday when we have our beloved Divaldo Franco doing a tour for Europe. So this Sunday at noon Brazil time, and I would say it's 4 o'clock our time, 4 o'clock London time. Okay, Charles back. So please join us with Divaldo. And on the 2nd of June, thank you to Buzz, and we will have the talk with subtitles in English. Also, this Saturday, we do have the European Spiritist Gathering. So you'll be, if you want to join us, please just email european.spiritistgathering@gmail.com. It's a Zoom link, so it starts at 7 o'clock p.m. London time. Also on the 2nd of June,
No,
5th of June. Yeah, 5th of June, we will have a wonderful talk by our friend Munir Gariba. It's a series of Leon Denis, and his topic is the problem of life and destiny. So don't miss every month on the first Saturday of the month. Buzz, Kardec Group, and Irish Spiritist Federation, Kardec Radio join forces, and we have this wonderful lecture about Leon Denis. And also, we have this very short announcement here from Ireland.
Welcome to the reading of the Spirit's book. I am Marina.
I'm Nadja.
I'm Vanderlei.
And we are here with this project. It's called the Reading of the Spirit's book. And this is a project from
the Spirit Society of Ireland
and the Irish Spirit Federation.
And the purpose of this project is just to bring more about Spiritism, also in the English language, but also in audio and video form, so everybody can benefit from what Kardec has put together.
Thank you very much, guys. Please subscribe to our channel and keep watching our lives on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you, guys, and have a good time.
Bye.
So thank you very much, and I will give more details about it. And
welcome to the.
And this is our topic for next week: how to deal with losses during pandemic and prevent sufferings. So let me talk a little bit about this project we will do here. This is an effort of a lot of people, but the brain behind this, our dear friend Vanderlei. All the credit is to him. He put all the efforts in order to make it happen. See, he has this project for many years, but thanks to the pandemic time, it materialized. So, and we will have every Friday. Thank you again for Kardec Radio. We will post every Friday at 5 p.m. Irish time or London time. We will post a video. The video length by between 18 minutes, more or less. And the idea is every Friday we post a video. So thank you very much. Thank you, Vanderlei. Thank you, Nadja. Thank you, Marina. It's a wonderful project for you guys. I'm pretty sure you're not helping just today. We are leaving this for many generations. Thank you. And that's it, my friends. I can say here, people are saying, wow, it's went so fast. So yes, went so fast, but I want to say thank you, all of you, for sharing your knowledge, sharing your point of view. And Dr. Vanessa, it's wonderful. Again, thank you for the opportunity to give to us to be here. If not Kardec Radio, we want to be here. So thank you. And Mon Chéri in France, thank you. My dear friend.
Thank you very much.
Lithuania, sorry, my Lithuanian is not.
Labayatu. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. It was wonderful. Yeah, it's very enlightening. So it's very, very nice to hear you. And I said before, I am a fan of you. I used to listen to Kardec Radio before, like, starting all these videos, talks. And so, like, it's always good to hear you and learn from you. Thank you very much.
And my dear Elsa, thank you for the cup of tea today.
Thank you all, my dear. Thank all the friends, new friends there, good people. So we'll be here together next week.
Okay, I'll see you next week. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe, stay well.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Au revoir.
Thank you, Vanessa. Bless you. Bye-bye, dear. Bye-bye, Nadja, querida. Charlie.